Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Patty G Show. We are joined by Amy Cimo talking about health, wellness, nutrition, and patience. Enjoy the episode coming your way, brought to you by our wonderful partners, Lakeman's Health Center, Falaya Real Estate, Cortex, PB&J Productions. So Amy, we connected at the social media breakfast, right, here in Baton Rouge.
Right.
So to start off, tell us a little bit about your experience with that. And then we'll get into you and everything that you do.
Yeah, with social media breakfast, I really love that group. That is, I don't know how many, a couple of years he's been doing it, 2 or 3 years. I think that when it first started, I was never able to make it because I was just schedule wise. I was tired all the time. And so when I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to start jumping back into networking, because I had done a lot of things previously. I was heavily involved with Forum 225 when it was Forum 35, and took a few years off after the pandemic. Met my husband, got married, so took some time off from networking. I was busy doing a lot of other things. And so when I was ready to kind of get back out there and start meeting people again and interacting with people, social media breakfast was one that I had not been involved in before. And I showed up a few times and I just love the atmosphere. I love the space. It's what I consider easy because it's so casual. The group of people that attend are very laid back, down to earth, and it's just a fun environment. And I don't feel like, other people might approach it differently, but I don't feel like I need to sit there and like actively take notes or, try to retain and remember everything. I can just listen and absorb and just be there to interact with people. So I really love that. Adam's got a good thing there.
Yeah, Adam's got a great thing going. I think he's coming on in a couple of weeks or something like that. So
good. Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit more about it with him, but it was an interesting environment because I've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
And so being the first time going and presenting was kind of a little nerve-wracking, given that he gave me like maybe 7 days notice.
Okay.
But it was very intriguing to hear like everybody's there for the purpose of networking, learning who the people are in the community, what they're doing. And it all kind of stems around like you as a business professional, as an entrepreneur, you have to like get out there and meet people. You can't just, hang a shingle on your door and hope people start coming in,
right.
Especially with a community that's so locally connected as we are here in BR. Like just getting out and going to one of those events, you're immediately going to come away with meeting half a dozen to a dozen people that you didn't know before, that maybe one or two might be able to help you in whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that space for me is just easy. Because that part of that with networking too is like you have to really find the spaces that feel good to you, and that's different for everybody. There's a lot of ways to get involved, a lot of different places where you can meet people, and it's not always a fit for everyone. And that's really what I love about social media breakfast is it's so easy, it's so comfortable. I enjoy the group that goes regularly, and so I enjoy meeting new people when I do meet new people there.
Yeah, it's just a very welcoming environment.
Right.
Nobody's there. You got a presentation and everybody else just talking throughout it with a very dialogue-friendly presentation. It's not so much presenting, it's more of an actual conversation, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah.
That style and format.
And all about empowering small business owners, because it's all about how can you better support your business by utilizing skills or, understanding new skills that you've never come across before. And so I think that's where, for me, it's not as much of an active note taking because I have a little bit of a marketing background. And so I know what I can use right now or what I need to wait. In certain spaces, I kind of get an update of what's new, like, in social media, what's new. But that's what I think makes it so easy for me to just kind of go and, chillax through the whole thing. I don't feel like I have to be like on,
Right. You're just there.
Yeah. Just hanging out
And participating.
Right.
You're not like, oh, I got to be on for whatever reason it may be.
Right.
So empowering small businesses. You are a small business owner. What do you do? What is it that you do?
A lot of things. No.
How did you get into this chair?
Yeah.
What's the
So,
story?
well, there's a few things that I do actually, but pushing more on the nutrition side. So, during COVID, like a lot of people, I was let go of my job. And so I had the opportunity at that point to decide, okay, what do I want to do now? Where do I want to go from here? And do I want to pursue another corporate job? And so at that point, honestly, I never, had you asked me 3 months prior, I would have said, no way I'm ever going to, you know, be self-employed, run my own business. I've seen my dad do it for my entire life. It just wasn't really something I was interested in. I liked the stability of a regular paycheck. But at that point, for some reason, it just made sense. And what's funny is that I worked in marketing, and through Forum, I had met somebody who asked me to do some marketing for his small business. So I had started doing that right before COVID, like a few months before the pandemic, before everything shut down. And for whatever reason, I don't even know why I did this, but I set up an LLC. So I had set up
very forward thinking.
I had set up my LLC, and I think that was just me being like, no, I have to do this the right way. If I'm going to do this, then I have to have a business. And I had set up an LLC in February of 2020.
Okay. Best time to start a new business.
Yeah. So I was working full time, but I had this LLC just to run this one freelance client that was like, I don't know, $500 a month, like something small. And so when the pandemic happened, I lost my job in April. I took a step back. I took a month off to really kind of think about it and said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I already was working with somebody. I had the LLC set up, said, I'm going to try this. So I started doing freelance marketing work, which I still do today as well. I've niched down to copywriting specifically. So I was doing kind of social media and a lot of other stuff, but now I'm pretty much just copywriter. That's my strong suit. That's what I enjoy doing. So
and what is a copywriter?
So I do content writing. So anything that's marketing, technical or creative, mostly creative, that's what I do. So anything from emails to social media copy to I've done video scripts. I've done press releases, website, a lot of web copy, blogs. So anything you can think of that needs words, I've probably done it at least once. So I've been doing that. Excuse me. I've been doing that since the pandemic. I kind of built up some clients on that side. The other thing that happened was like a lot of people who go into the health and wellness space, I had my own history with health and weight and struggles around that area. And so I had lost a lot of weight at one point. I lost about 100 pounds in less than a year at a time where people were not doing that very often.
Yeah.
So when that happened, people started asking me questions. Well, what do I do? What do I eat? What about this? And I kept saying, I don't know. I can't answer that, because innately for me, it felt like it's different for everybody. And so I can tell you what maybe is working for me and why I think it works for me, but I can't tell you what's going to work for you.
Yeah. So hard to do that with everybody's just different.
Everybody's different. Yeah. And so that really gave me an interest in learning more about the science behind nutrition. So I went to school for marketing and journalism. So I don't have a science background.
Very science heavy.
Yeah.
Degrees,
I
right?
have no science background whatsoever. So during the pandemic, I also had more free time and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pursue this. Okay. I've been interested in this. I've been thinking about it for probably about 4 or 5 years at that point. And now I had time. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and pursue this, and started studying nutrition. So I was actually working at my gym, the gym that I was attending as a member prior to the pandemic. When they reopened, I know they had a need for people. So I said, I'm not working right now. I can't sit still. So if you need help, I'll come help you. Right. Started working there, said, I'm going to study nutrition. And they said, oh, that's great. We need trainers. Will you be a trainer? So I actually did the personal training certification first, became a personal trainer, did group training at that gym as well as personal training at another studio, and then continued down the path of nutrition. Got a nutrition coaching certification through Precision Nutrition, which is a really great program. and still kind of felt like it wasn't enough for what I was looking for as far as what am I trying to help people with. So that's when I found nutritional therapy through the Nutritional Therapy Association. So they have a specific certification for a nutritional therapy practitioner, and that really dives more into the science and physiology of what is happening inside the body when there are certain symptoms, when there are certain deficiencies. Well, how do things actually work? How do nutrients actually support the body and support optimal function? And how can you utilize nutrition to support the body's own innate intelligence and healing? So that's how I got there.
You went from marketing and journalism with no science background to sounds like one of the heaviest science backgrounds you can in the world of nutrition.
Yeah, I really dug myself in deep. And I'm like, now still, I feel like I'm still trying to catch up, because I guess I don't have like I have a creative brain more so than a science brain. So I feel like I'm still trying to like dig in and like learn and like find ways to retain information. And I guess the problem is there's so much information, you know, and I lean on intuition a lot of like, I feel like this is the right way, but now let me go find the evidence to support that. And so that's kind of how I will approach things. Of course, you know, I have mentors in the space and people that I can lean on to really help me. People who have, you know, been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years that understand off the bat, like, check this or look at this or ask this question, that helps me kind of start really connect the dots to what I think I know, but I need a little bit more, you know, data or like the technical explanation.
Well, and that'll just come with time, right? As with anything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely know, I feel like there was a turning point where I was reading so much, just trying to take in so much information from sun up to sundown that I realized I had to stop because my brain is just fried.
It's on overload.
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's like it's going to be never ending because things change, you know, with new technology, with new research. We're constantly finding out new information. So it's going to continuously change and adapt, and we just have to be able to adapt with it. But, you know, I do feel like there was a point in time where I was like, I kind of reached a breakthrough moment of like, okay, I feel like I'm starting to retain it better now. But it helps that I'm actually super interested in it. Right. So I lean on that, like when I start going down the rabbit hole of like what I'm passionate about, and like I want to understand it, I want to know it, and so that helps a lot too.
Look, the easiest research you can ever do is something that's a passion of yours. Mm-hmm. Whether it's nutrition, whether it's vehicles, whatever it may be. Like when you get on a roll and you're like diving into research, you were like pressured through high school and college to figure out research, and it was always probably the worst thing. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like, oh wait, I'm researching what I love. Like this is actually fun and insightful. And you get like fired up about it, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the same thing, because I am a journalist as well. I've done work in there. So, you know, you have to do research. But I think one of the reasons I never actually pursued journalism as a career was because I didn't want to do a lot of the basic, like, you know, when you're an entry level reporter and you just have to go cover random stories. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to tell people stories. Like, I don't want to talk to people.
Skip a few steps.
I don't want to talk to people who don't want to talk to me. I want to like talk to the people who want to get their story out. And so, you know, I'm lucky enough to be able to do that today as a freelance writer for some magazines. And so that's what I enjoy about that. Right. And so, I enjoy doing the research and telling the story of the people who want to have their story told. But not the stuff that I don't want to go do.
So how does like the freelance writing for multiple age, how does that work?
So I have a handful of clients that, let's say, are like regular clients that I do work for monthly. And those are more businesses where I'm contracted to do specific things, or they'll send me other requests. So I have like, let's say, monthly work that I, you know, retainer that I work on. And then I have a few other contacts that will come to me throughout the year if there's an extra need. Or I have one client who I help them with a quarterly newsletter. So, every 3 or 4 months, they'll come to me with an update or like need new information. I do some work. I have done some work in the past year for Register. So Riley, the editor, has contacted me to do a few stories. And then, she recently got with me again for another story for this month's issue. And then she sent my name to somebody else who needed a story done. So it's really, a lot of it's just kind of ad hoc on a project basis. And I have a handful of clients that I do some monthly work for.
So are they sending you stories they want you to write about, or are you submitting it to how does that relationship work? Yeah,
most of it is requested. I've done for In Register, I did pitch a couple of stories. So I think I've done 4 for In Register. So 2 of them I pitched and 2 of them she asked for me. So both ways. So if there's something that I want to pitch, and in being connected with people, I tell people, I've told a specific group, I do some freelance work for Register. So if you ever want to pitch a story, come, let's talk about it. And then I can take it and pitch it to the magazine. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we all love the AI tools that are out there now. And a lot of people use them for social media campaigns, for marketing campaigns. And like they're figuring out ways to use it to minimize time on writing all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How has that impacted what you do with the freelance writing bit?
It's helpful. It's funny because when people say, oh, AI is going to cut out these jobs, I'm like, I'm literally a copywriter. That's what I do is what,
is what
ChatGPT does for a lot of people. It's what I always say is it's only as good as the person who's using it, right? The tool is only ever as good as the person who's using it. So if you understand how to use it in the right way, it can be very beneficial. I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people can go online, find information, and immediately recognize if it's written by ChatGPT when it's unedited, right? So for me as a writer, and me as a solo writer, as a freelancer, it's really helpful to give me a starting point. So I'm not staring at a blank piece of paper. I think anybody who writes understands the worst part of writing is staring at a blank page when you're struggling with words. Mm-hmm. So it's really helpful to just kick it into high gear, give me something to go off of. So then I can then say, no, I don't want it like this, or yes, this is a good angle, or this is a good setup. So I'll use it to help me draft things. But then I spend a lot of time editing and putting my own words in, putting my own structure and style into it. So it's just another tool.
Yeah. We had a guest on a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us that they use, ChatGPT or some form of AI tools. And it's just that, because it's only as good as the input you give it.
Right.
You can't enter, hey, write a story about X, Y, and Z, because it's going to write it kind of very factual or very, whatever it can pull from existing stories. Whereas you're going to go and do your own research, find your own diligence, maybe talk to some people or something if it's a local enough conversation to be had. And then you kind of run with it on your own and use your professional judgment. Whereas these AI tools are sticking to the script that they've been given.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, write me a story about, is this stress ball an apple or a tomato?
Yeah. Yeah. And, as a writer, I am trained to look at something and understand, is that getting across the message that I'm trying to say? Right. And so just like you're saying, somebody who's not as trained in that or doesn't maybe have that creative brain, they're a technical side, they're a technical brain, not a creative. I can read it's a lot of it still is intuition, but like I'll read something and say there's something, it's not quite right. Like there's something off, and then start playing with different, different structures or moving things around and saying, how can I elicit the feeling that I want to get out of this? Like, what does that look like in this copy? And so that's something that you can train AI in a little bit to kind of give you that emotional, that resonation. But it's not going to do it the same way that you're going to do it when you put eyes on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna write what it thinks is the best answer, and then they're gonna say put some emotion in there, and it's gonna throw emotional words in there. It's not gonna change up that the way the message is read and interpreted hits you with emotion. It's just gonna like make the words use emotional words, you know, and even having it say make this sound more human. Like it's still not gonna sound fully human. It sounds kind of close, but you can still tell.
Yeah.
I don't know if this person wrote this.
Yeah. But the good thing is for individuals and for small businesses too, if you can get good at training it and with the inputs and training it on you and your personal style, it can get really good at, you know, adapting to what your tone and what your style is. That makes it a lot easier to, you know, just generate content when you're trying to just put stuff out.
Yeah. I normally just like put my name on the top of the page. I'm like, all right, now it's not a blank page anymore.
There you go. That's a strategy. That's a good strategy.
This episode of the Patty G Show is brought to you by Cortex. Cortex is the trusted technology partner for small businesses across Louisiana, delivering managed IT, cybersecurity, and smart strategies to help you leverage AI without the confusion. I mean, aren't we all confused by AI nowadays? As a locally owned company, we understand the challenges Louisiana businesses face and provide tailored solutions that keep your operations secure and efficient. Whether you're looking to strengthen your cybersecurity or explore how AI can give your business a competitive edge, Cortex is here to help. Be sure to mention the Patty G Show and receive a free cybersecurity risk and analysis to see where your business stands. So you're doing this writing and you're doing this copywriting, but then you've also got this nutrition side of things. And so you were kind of leading up to it with getting into the gym and being a fitness trainer and everything. But like, what does it now entail on like the business? What are the operations? How are you talking to people, interacting, so on and so forth?
So most of my interactions as a business owner on a day-to-day basis are about the nutrition. That's something that I'm working on building up. So when early last year, so about a year and a half ago, I actually left personal training and left that to give me more time to focus on the nutrition side. So since then, I've been like, I say this is year 2 of me actively trying to build up that business, working toward that. So I mostly go out and network with the nutrition business in mind as my long-term goal. I mean, I love writing, and that's, you know, a stream of, excuse me. I love writing, and that's a stream of income for me at the time, right now, but that's not something that I see to be anything more than what it currently is. Whereas on the nutrition side, I have a bigger vision for it, you know, a bigger vision of being able to connect with other businesses, help more people, and build it up to where I can also maybe support other people who are coming into it like me. You know, maybe it's a career shift later in life and they need a mentor. I think that's really kind of the long-term vision I see for myself, is being able to build up a space where I can help other practitioners in the future, because I think the need for this is only going to continue to grow. The need for health and wellness practitioners in different varieties that help different groups of people and support preventative care, so that we're not relying on reacting to diagnoses and disease, that we can actually prevent and live a good quality life.
Yeah. Well, in Louisiana is a good place to have that type of business.
Yeah. We got a lot of good food here.
We have a very long list of delicious food. And so when you're doing this, what's kind of the interaction? What's the when you say nutrition, right? It's a very broad topic, and generally people think of nutrition as, oh, you're either going to cook food, or you're going to give me a meal plan. But like, what is it actually from the service standpoint that people are getting with you?
Yeah. So I focus on helping people support symptoms. So in the short term, support symptoms. So I do nutrition counseling, like nutrition coaching, I work one-on-one with people. I have a few functional labs that I'll bring in. But really, we start by assessing what's going on in the body. So understanding what symptoms you have and what those symptoms are pointing to of what needs support internally, what body systems need support, what maybe organs need support, and then how do we utilize food and nutrients to support those systems and find that internal balance so that you can get relief from your symptoms in the short term. So if you're struggling with fatigue, headaches, digestive issues, for women, PMS issues, then we can support that in the short term. But ultimately, what I want to help people with is to not only bring awareness to the symptoms, because we're living in a space where we're so disconnected from our bodies that we don't even know what we don't know. We don't even know we're feeling things that we're feeling, honestly.
Yeah, we just kind of go about our day.
Yeah. So like people will come to me all the time. Oh, I'm not stressed. Women, I'm not stressed. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's talk about what's going on in your life. And they start listing out like, oh, I do this. I maybe have a leadership type role at work, right? I've got multiple kids. All my kids are in activities. I've got this vacation. I'm on the PTA. I volunteer here. Like just so busy.
Right.
And
no stress.
Yeah. Cause it's a baseline, right? You're like your new normal. Like you just kind of get used to living in that state. And so they'll tell me they're not stressed. But when we start looking at the data, the body is obviously very stressed. And so that's where we need to address. So then it starts, okay, let's start being aware. Let's bring some awareness to what's actually going on and how this is impacting you physically, physiologically, and even mentally. So bringing awareness in and then learning how to support those things, understanding what's going on. So connecting the dots, and then ultimately being able to build up resilience in the body, which is a lot of it is about building up your stress resilience, your capacity to handle things, manage stress appropriately, and support body functions. And then long term, be able to know how to support yourself when those things come up, right? When you start feeling symptoms again, understand what's going on so that you can support it, as well as being able to know yourself well enough, know your body well enough that you know what is going on when something's really wrong and you go to a doctor and you say, I don't feel good, something's off. And the doctor says, oh, you're fine, everything's normal. Being able to understand, no, this isn't normal, something else is wrong, and advocating for yourself, I think that is really important. That a lot of people just get brushed off. Even when they're specifically asking for things. I went to a couple of my doctors earlier this year and had a list of labs, certain labs that I wanted to look at that I had never seen before, and was not able to get all of those run through those doctors. Now I can go run those labs somewhere else if I want to, but
yeah, but I mean, like, were they run beforehand and you were trying to get access to them, or were you trying them to run new labs in general?
Yeah, so some of them were beyond the standard of what is typically run. And so they can request certain things. And so probably a lot of times what happens is, okay, if you don't have anything specific, like I don't have any specific concerns necessarily, like I'm not diagnosed on paper with anything. But I understand I'm studying things. I understand my history. I understand what's going on with me physically now. So, okay, there's a few more things I'd like to look at here because I've never seen it. Like even a full thyroid panel. Like normally they run TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. That doesn't necessarily give you the whole picture. And when something is going wrong with your thyroid, it might be the last thing to actually show something in blood work. So getting a full thyroid panel requires them to probably check a few more boxes that aren't standard. And so other things like that I asked for, and I got some immediate pushback. And so what they'll do is like, okay, if somebody is struggling, like we know you have this diagnosis, or we know that this is wrong, or we hear this, and we'll get a few extra things run. Or if a standard lab comes back, something comes back off, then they can go and ask for them to run something else. They have a certain time frame that they can utilize the blood that they take to run additional labs. And so yeah, at this point I was just like, I know I have a lot more knowledge and I have a lot more information and I want to see more things because I want to see if there's, kind of taking a step back and look at a bigger picture than I have ever seen before. And yeah, I just got some pushback and some, well, what are you trying to get with this? What are you trying to do? And, it was very discouraging. I mean, my doctor even told me I was being defensive. And I said, well, you asked me to justify why I want these labs run and then still didn't run everything that I asked for.
Wow.
And then the same thing the next month with my OBGYN, asked her and she was basically like, I mean, I'll run it if you want to, but I don't think there's a reason that we need to. And so it's very frustrating. I mean, that was frustrating for me, and to the point where it was like 2 months back to back. And I was like, is it me? Like, like trying to really, I try to be very objective as I can be about certain things and take a step back and say, okay, is it me? Did I approach it the wrong way? Was there something I did? But honestly, like, it's my body. If there's something I want to know, then let me know. And so my primary care doctor did talk about insurance. Insurance doesn't always cover all of those labs. I said, that's fine. That's fine. Run it. I'll pay for it. I don't care. And some of them are like $10. Like, getting a B vitamin or something checked might be like $10. So, and some of them are more expensive. I get it. But I was like, I don't care. I don't care about the insurance. Like, I just want to know. I want this information. So that's frustrating. And I don't think that people should have to deal with that. And I think some of it, I don't want to speak ill about doctors because doctors are very important people. And I think that there are a lot of great doctors and they're doing, even the doctors that I have, I think that they're doing the best with what they can, but they're limited in time and they're, overworked. And it's hard probably for them to sit down and have a long conversation. And I will say both of these doctors ended up spending about 30 minutes in the room with me talking things through, which I know probably messed up the rest of their day and the rest of the patients. So I'm sorry about that. But
you're the reason the waiting rooms are so full.
Yeah. But, that's just kind of problematic of the space, right?
Yes.
So we need to do better for people, I think.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
Yeah, and we've got and had some doctors on the show that kind of have illustrated that point. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, in the medical profession, it is such how quickly can we get these patients in the door and out the door? Mm-hmm. So you wanting to add something to it is like, okay, well, now you're messing with, like, I've got to hit so many numbers of patients a day. Mm-hmm. It's tied to comp, so on and so forth. So like you add in all these other tests, that's messing up all my numbers. Mm-hmm. So I get it from that point, but also it's like we have to be able to give them the chance to take a step back from that. Mm-hmm. And really service the client and the patient and say, okay, what is it that you're in for today? Mm-hmm. Your chart says X, Y, Z, but is there anything else going on? Like they ask it, but I feel like they're secretly crossing their fingers, hoping you just say, oh no, doc, everything's good.
Yeah. It's, it's a kind of, it sucks both ways, but that's why you're seeing a lot more of these private pay membership-based model physicians come in to practice because they are able to do more.
Oh yeah.
Right. And you as a patient are able to get more in-depth, responses and quicker access. So that is the path that I see it continuing to go over time, as well as people like me who are, focused more on the preventative and trying to educate people and give people the tools and resources. And it's private pay. It's not covered by insurance, but it's an investment up front to support you long term. So you don't have those extra costs that come with the problematic, disease states and outcomes of that down the line.
So are you having your customers go and actually order some of these blood tests and everything when they go to the doctor to better serve them, or how does that integrate with your business?
Yeah. So right now I have, so I'm trained in a couple of functional labs.
Okay.
One of them is hair tissue mineral analysis. So we actually take a sample of hair, which is probably, blood work is really, I think there may be some other things that are covered depending on situations, but blood work is really the main lab that's covered by insurance.
Right.
Anything else, like if you do, stool testing or anything like that, it's all out of pocket. So hair tissue analysis is one of the cheapest labs that you can run for an out of pocket, and it is easily accessible. It's non-invasive. You just take a snip of hair, and as long as you don't consider that invasive.
She's making clones of us, Jay.
And that goes off to a lab. It measures mineral status in tissue, and so it actually gets down to the cellular level of how is your body utilizing minerals. And how is it depositing into tissue? Because as the minerals transport around the body through blood, they then go into the cells and they deposit into tissues. And based on, it's not random. So based on the way that the patterns show up on the tissue, it gives us insight as to what is really happening in your body and how is your body utilizing these nutrients. So that is it's like minerals are the spark plugs of the body. So like your body needs minerals for everything that it does. So it really kind of gets down to that root level. So I love that as a lab for anybody that can give us some insight as to targeted nutrients, targeted strategies to support your symptoms. The other lab that I am trained in now is GI map, which is gut testing. That one is a little bit more expensive, but for anybody who can afford it and is accessible to them, it is another lab that I love to look at root cause. The gut is linked to so many different things now, and really showing that what's going on in the gut is kind of at the core of anything else that could be happening. So that's why I started with those two specifically. I would down the line like to get trained in interpreting blood work. And I mean, that's not to say that I can't look at it and kind of understand it if people want to share it with me, but I'm not specifically trained in interpreting and, trying to, pull stuff out of it. And I don't diagnose, I don't treat, I don't cure, but I can look at labs to try to understand what imbalances there may be internally and how we can support it through food and lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, because that's all that it comes down to when you look at nutrition, is making sure your lifestyle is aligned with where you want to be, like your goals, because it is a lifestyle, right? You've got the folks that are throwing in, like, oh, well, you get on this diet, you get on this diet. It's like, right, that's a cyclical event. Like that's going to happen, and then you're going to be off, or you're going to stop. It's like, to really focus on your health and wellness and your overall well-being, you have to look at changing your lifestyle and changing your habits. And that takes time. Yeah. And getting people to understand that is probably the biggest challenge for you is, oh yeah, you're not going to go on this plan for so long and then you're going to jump off. Like that's not how the human body works. It's a continuation every single day, one little bit at a time. Well,
and it's about finding that balance. Finding that balance, not only mentally that works for you, but also what's actually working for your body. And so I don't put people on diets. I don't have people counting calories or macros, at least not to start. Sometimes it can end up there, but first we need to actually look at what's going on in your body and how we can utilize tweaks and strategies to get you feeling better, right? Like that's to feeling your best. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is, what are you trying to do in life? You know, how do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel day to day? And how understanding how you support your body through nutrition, but not even just nutrition, like your other lifestyle factors, your environment, your work, your day to day, like all of those things impact health too. And so when you are really, if somebody is really in a place where they just feel bad every day, and then they start doing something that helps them feel better, they're likely to stick with that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because they know, man, I can actually, you know, wake up and move around my day a lot easier, you know, things like that. It's so simple and it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
But it's just that understanding. Like we don't have that understanding because we're so disconnected. Like you said, diet. And that's, you know, that's ultimately when I talk about my weight loss now, that I kept it off for 10 years. It's been 10 years. And people are like, oh, how'd you know, because losing weight is half the battle, but maintaining that weight loss. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, you know, I exercise and but in reality, I maintained that weight loss by dieting. When I wasn't dieting, I was off the rails. Like I was, you know, on a holiday, on a vacation, an event, I was binging, I was drinking, I was eating all the stuff, and then I'd go right back on that diet. So there was no balance for me. It was just either restrict or binge, right? And so that's really, I think for a lot of people, they don't even realize that's what they're doing.
Oh, 100%.
Right? You're restricting until there's some event. And then you're like, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And then you just go back on the diet. But you're restricting not only maybe calories, but nutrients as well. So the effects of that cyclical weight cycling of gaining and losing and dieting long term is even more chronic, because now you've got nutrient deficiencies that are causing your thyroid to slow down, your metabolism to slow down. So then you can't even lose the weight anymore. Your body systems are starting to slow down because your body doesn't have what it needs to support optimal function. And so then you just feel bad. Right. And now we're trying to get to a point, that's where, you know, when people come to me later in life, they're trying to get to a point where they feel better, and they don't understand why they feel bad, because they're doing all of the things, but they've also been dieting for maybe decades, you know, 20 plus years. And so their body is just starved of nutrients.
Yeah. Well, and then to your point, it's the first half of the battle is getting it off. The second half is maintaining what you've lost, right? And oftentimes you got that ebb and flow where people are like on this high because they're seeing it happen, seeing things, and they're like got this goal weight and or this goal number in mind. Like when they get there, like, I'm done. I'm good. I don't have to do anything else. And it's like, no, you just like, you're still climbing up. Like you just started. Like now you got to make sure that you change your habits, your lifestyle to really focus on your health and your well-being moving forward. Because now you got a good part, but maintenance is a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's hard. It's challenging. I mean, I've struggled with that my whole life. So I understand that. And now I understand the need to not do that, and why it's so important to not do that to myself and to actually nourish. So nourish over restriction is what I always talk about.
This episode of the Patty G Show is brought to you by Cortex. Cortex is the trusted technology partner for small businesses across Louisiana, delivering managed IT, cybersecurity, and smart strategies to help you leverage AI without the confusion. I mean, aren't we all confused by AI nowadays? As a locally owned company, we understand the challenges Louisiana businesses face and provide tailored solutions that keep your operations secure and efficient. Whether you're looking to strengthen your cybersecurity or explore how AI can give your business a competitive edge, Cortex is here to help. Be sure to mention the Patty G Show and receive a free cybersecurity risk and analysis to see where your business stands.
And then also just not chasing the scale. Like there's so many, you know, weight is not an indicator of health. Weight is often a symptom of something else. So by supporting your overall health and underlying root causes, then weight will normally fall into place when the body feels safe and the body is balanced. So that's really kind of the mindset that I try to help people with is to stop chasing the scale, because ultimately that may not be helping.
Right. And it also depends on what you're doing. It may not be getting down to a certain number is even achievable, but yet you're still going to feel and live your life way better than you thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's different. Every situation is different. Everybody is different, and every, reason is unique. So, it just depends on the person of what's right for them. But ultimately, what I want to help people with is health, right?
Yeah.
Health first.
Right. So, I mean, you can't give like a 90-day plan that you just sell as an ebook or something on Instagram and have all the great success?
No. I mean, and so there's like foundational things, right? That like I suggest to most people that I work with. But every body is unique. Every physical body is unique. Every person is unique. So not even like maybe you have the same physical needs as somebody else, but your life is different than that person. So right. Are you going to be able to incorporate the same changes? Not necessarily. We will have to work at it a different way. So that's really kind of the fun part about it for me too, is being able to, fit those puzzle pieces together and figure out how can we best support you and your goals long term, and how do we get you there?
Yeah, no, I love it. It's definitely looking at the root cause of the matter and not just trying to put like a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah,
it's like, how do we prevent this from happening? What caused us to get here? Let's analyze this and really go all in on what really brought you to this point.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, oh, where's your goal? That's what you're trying to get to. Sure, here's a solution. So, let's figure out how you got to where you are, and then we got to work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. The prevention. That's the that's the important piece, right? People don't understand when it comes to health. It's hard for people to understand prevention, because if I don't necessarily feel bad, then that means everything's okay. But a lot of these health conditions, they're chronic, which literally means that they developed over a long period of time, right? So like diabetes doesn't happen overnight. It's something that happens after, a cascade of events in the body over years of being overburdened and not being able to come back from it. So, but you don't feel bad necessarily until way down the road, until that diagnosis comes or something else happens. And so I think prevention is kind of the key word to help people understand, like, we want you to continue to feel good, right? Not to just kind of slowly go downhill.
Yeah. And I think it's that long-term element is necessary to be a part of the conversation, because we like to think that things can happen overnight. They happen quick. They happen in a set number of days. But you're right. You've got some of these illnesses that take years to really show their faces when you're hopping along thinking you're doing great. And it's like, well, if you're not monitoring, you're not checking it in, you're like, that's like those, now that's so popular, it's like Oura rings or whatever, right? I feel like I see so many people wearing them, because now it's like, oh, now you're monitoring, now you're checking in on your health, and you're being conscious about it. It's okay, well, this is a great step that people are starting to think through. Okay, what am I doing today, and how's it going to impact me 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line?
Yeah. And in the same breath, you can't reverse it overnight either.
No,
right?
Don't tell me that, Amy. Come on.
So if something took, you can't reverse the effects of 20 years of dieting in 6 weeks. Like, it's going to take longer for your body to recover and find balance after that, and some intention behind it too. So, quick fix is not short-term fix. Quick fixes or short-term fixes, they're not long-term solutions.
But that doesn't sell, right? That doesn't sell across social media. Come and spend 5 years or doing X, Y, and Z, and then you'll see some benefit. That doesn't sell. It's always 100 days or less, 99 days, 23 days, whatever, under a month. Like all that quick is often what people are attached to.
Yeah. That's my struggle. How do I get people to understand? But it's just kind of, I feel like I'm pretty intentional about the message that I'm pushing. And so, the right people find me.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is great.
Yeah.
So as we kind of start to wrap up the show, We have a set list of questions we ask every guest. So the first one is, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Something I did as a kid that I think the one thing that I always think about I did as a kid. So I'm a writer, so I'm also an avid reader. So I love to read, and right now I read a lot more industry books. So it's harder to fit in those the fun reads. But I remember vividly when I was younger, one summer I would just read books, and I would stay up all night reading. I mean, I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13, but I would just stay up all night reading like these books that were so funny and fun. And they maybe they were funny because I was like up at 4:00 in the morning and delirious, but
You didn't know what you were reading half the time.
it was just so fun to just be able to read as many books as I wanted and like not have to worry about obligations or time. And like, I don't feel like now I get to read as much of the fun stuff as I'd like to. Although not to say that I can't, I just kind of choose the other route. But yeah, just being able to kind of read freely and, spend a lot of time just, hold up with a good book.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's a sad reality of getting older. Our time becomes a lot more structured and occupied and less free.
A lot more responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are 3 lessons you have learned along the way?
3 lessons in business.
Business, life, whatever.
You can do hard things. Not even hard things that seem challenging to you as an individual. Like you can do anything. One thing I've learned is to not have expectations around people or things. Like, you want to set the bar high, you want to aim high, but don't expect that things are going to go perfectly, or don't expect that people are going to respond the way that you think they're going to respond. But that's okay. Keep pushing forward with what you value and what your intention is, because that is still important. Was that 2 things? What else have I learned? Patience. Things take time. So just keep pushing forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. The greatest overnight success was 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
So what is something you love about Baton Rouge?
Baton Rouge is a big, small town.
I'm into that.
So with that, it's really possible to do great things as an individual. You are, a big fish in a small pond. So it's a lot easier to create a footprint, make an impact when you want to, because it's a smaller town. But getting connected with the right people, depending on what you want to do, is really important. But if you can do that, then you can make a big impact. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take as much as it might take in a bigger city, right? You have a lot more opportunity here.
Yeah. Anybody you really want to get in touch with is maybe 2 to 3 connections away, instead of 5, 6, 7, or 8 connections away.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I try to connect other people as often as I can to each other if I feel like they would be good resources for each other.
Yeah.
But even when I talk to people who maybe aren't from here or just moved here, I always tell them, just find your connection, like find the right connections for you. Because if you just there's so many people around town that are good, also good connectors. So if you find somebody who's connected to a lot of people, and a lot of those people are willing to connect you, and so you just have to find your person, and you can be connected with pretty much anybody you need.
Oh yeah. So for the final question, what can I do to help you?
Word of mouth, right? That's the thing.
Absolutely.
That's probably what everybody says, like just, making connections, and if speaking about the business, if there's somebody who is looking for something and you think it's a good fit, then throw my name out there. And I think that's all we can do for anybody in this space is word of mouth, referrals, and making connections.
You got it. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So I am most active on Instagram and Facebook. My email, amycimo.nutrition@gmail. Any of those paths, and I will be right there.
You got it. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody else, for listening or watching, whatever platform you're consuming us on. Take care of yourself and be patient. We'll see y'all next week.